So, Iain, welcome to Inspira Digital's part interviews. Do a little bit of an intro, tell everyone about yourself and what you do.
Okay, my name's Iain Coplands. I am CEO and co-founder at Stockly. Stockly is a cloud ERP system, and we work with retailers and wholesalers. So in the UK and Ireland at the moment.
Fine. I was going to say to you, Iain, what I guess, obviously, on an ERP system, there's lots of them in the world, and I was wondering what kind of your approach to this solution is, and what makes you stand out from others, and the key reasons why someone would choose you. And Stockly, yeah.
I think the first thing is we're a cloud-based solution, easier to implement, not just in cost but also time. And then, of course, it's our responsibilities to manage the underlying server infrastructure. So rather than facing the ongoing costs of managing your server, not just the server hardware, but the people to look after it. And we use AWS for that. So we've got a very powerful, scalable, secure server base, which means that, when you're entering peak times, you've got nothing to worry about. And then what separates us, what do we look to achieve? The first thing is we want to simplify the tech stack. So we provide warehouse management, order management, product information management, and manufacturing within one system, one point of accountability, moving away from perhaps a number of joined up systems, joined up an order management with a warehouse management, etc. We look to automate a lot of the process. We think a lot about workflows. They don't live in a silo. They form workflows between departments and teams and people. So how can we automate those workflows? And we've written our own language, which sits in the software, that translates into logic-based rules that we can set up right across, the warehouse, order management, manufacturing, to streamline and automate those services. That sort of translates into reducing data entry, reducing the duplication of tasks. When you reduce data entry and duplication, you reduce human error. And the outcome of all of that is our customers tell us that we save them time, we save them cost, and they can actually focus on the tasks that make them money in the business.
In our kind of discussions when we've been talking about potential implementations, one of the things I found that has really stood out about you guys is that human touch and the ability to sort of get in there with the client and sort of guide them through the operational changes and what it means, and do the deep dives into their processes and systems to help them make sense of how they can optimize it. It's one of the things that came across really strongly when we worked together on this. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, partnership is huge for us. We've got a lot of empathy around the change piece.
Yeah.
We're an ERP system. You don't just plug us in and walk away. It's going to be a lot of change potentially right across the business. And a lot of companies use us to transition to digital in their warehouse, move to handhelds, real-time reporting, all those kind of things. So there's moving away from spreadsheets. There can be a lot of change, and that can't happen unless we really get involved with their business through the implementation. And that's a really structured process of getting Stockly implemented, but also making sure that everybody's trained. And you can't do that without a really deep understanding of their business.
We share very similar values on that, and I think I'm commending you for the ERP solution, and not just because you run a really great piece of hosted software to do the job. It's also that consultancy and that deep dive. It means that we know from our perspective that when we put you in front of a client, they're going to get brilliant advice, right?
Do the same goes for our view of Inspira. For every interaction that we have with you and the team just fills us with confidence that you guys are a safe pair of hands when we hand over, an introduction, because your view on how you look after people, how you want to educate people, how you're not just going to sort of say yes to whatever that they sort of are asking. Actually, you're going to provide that sort of informed, experienced view so that they can make an educated decision about what's going to be the best way forward.
Yeah, I was watching something the other day, and someone said in the in the modern day and age, you shouldn't be googling your own business symptoms because you'll end up being sold a load of lies. But what you do need to do is, like you would with your health, if you're going about your business, you need to talk to the domain experts, right? Which I think is really, really good advice. And I think that's, rather than going to try and define your own problems and solve your own ailments, you do need that external consultation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we are very into the concept of challenger sales. That's the concept that says I'm going to meet a prospect, be introduced to a prospect, but rather than just ask them what their problems are, I want to talk to them about their process. And then I'm going to share our view of the market, because we spend all our time in the market looking at lots of different businesses, and challenge them and say, well, you've said that this is a problem, but actually, what about this, this, and this, which I think are contributing to an outcome which you see as a problem, but actually there's underlying issues that could address and actually improve the fundamentals that mean the outcomes are what you want. Talk to me about what's working, what's not, frustrations, the outcomes that you'd like, and then we can talk to you about the fundamentals. And the more we get to know your business, the more we can identify where those fundamentals are perhaps, not where they could be, and put together a view of how you could address your tech stack, the peripherals that could be in place across your business, to sort of change the dynamic within teams.
And it's I mean, very similar to us. One of the things I always say, you want clients to give you not the prescription or this solve this for me. It's more, what are you trying to achieve, right? As a company, e-commerce and delivery is an outward e-commerce funnel. It's a sales funnel, but it's also backed up by all this operational stuff behind the scenes, which has to work and function. And so it's like learning that whole 360 process and the context of it, so that you can, like you said, you can identify the problem, but you can also identify if there's actually really a problem that they need to be focusing on when, we do this and we remove those problems entirely and turn a 10-step process into 2, right? So it's completely.
Well, and I think that's what experience offers if it's applied in an appropriate way through sales, discovery, ongoing relationships with your customers, where you can look to help them understand the building blocks that go towards delivering an outcome that they want, rather than just thinking about what they know or how they've done it in the past or what they've seen someone else do and thinking that that can apply. 9 times out of 10, it's principles, it's fundamentals. You get them right and you focus on those, and then everything else works. I'm also a big believer, when no matter what you're doing, whether it's recruitment, whether it's, developing people, it's about principles, because you can apply them once you understand them. They can be applied.
Principle, a guide, your North Star, getting your North Star right. What you're talking about. It's interesting because we've kind of touched on it in there, but in terms of like a partnership with, say, us, Inspira Digital, what do you see as like really important and valuable about that? I think we have touched on it, but what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, you've got to be technical experts if you're in a technical field. And you guys, have been there since the start. One of the really, really early adopters of Shopify.
123rd store.
I was going to say 123rd. You've seen it and been a part of it. And if we have a customer who's on Shopify and needs support and guidance, then, who better than you guys to pass them over to? That's first of all. And the second thing is, you may have the technical experience, but how does the team approach a prospect? And you guys, you have a very holistic view of a customer. And again, that replicates our view. It's got to be a big picture view. It's not just about focusing on like a very specific outcome, like, oh, this will just solve all your problems. Actually, no, let's understand and then look for the best solution for you. And technical knowledge and a holistic approach with a team that shows empathy. That's rare,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why we have decided to, form such a close partnership.
That kind of goes down to the point that when we're in discussion, we share a Slack channel, and we're all, when things are active between us, we're, talking, asynchronously, as the project or the discussion's going on. And I think one of the things that strikes me in the modern day for vendors is that, or for store owners, is that they have to be expert generalists across so many domains. They have to talk to a lot of people, and so the more focused they can be with that, and the tighter those experts that they bring in, and the better conversations they're having and communications they're having between them, it makes their life a lot easier, right? And that's why I think these partnerships are so important.
Absolutely. And then, that's the practical operations of a partnership, isn't it?
Yeah.
How aligned are you? How do you communicate? And so, we have our Slack channel open. We are chatting constantly when there's something on the go, and that just means that the customer, they don't have to worry about managing the operations side. Actually, that's happening in the background.
Yeah.
And then that's adding value to them because they've got more time to be doing what they want to,
Exactly.
focus on, rather than worrying about is the agency and the software provider communicating.
I guess there's nothing worse than having a bunch of suppliers all like in their little bunkers, hating on each other. I mean, that could be very difficult.
And when you pick the right partners, agency, software, actually they are joined up.
Yeah.
And they're providing a whole solution.
Yeah.
And they know each other, they communicate well, and there is confidence in the delivery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are things that as a customer you shouldn't want to be worrying about. They should just be ticked off.
It should be you're just getting what you need rather than dealing with all the friction, right? That's what at the end of the day, you don't want that communication friction, and we definitely provide that in the way that we're working. One thing I was going to ask you was, but what advice would you give to a business who were considering working with us?
To be honest, I think my introduction would be, these guys are going to listen. They are going to take a considered view of you, the people in your business, your processes, and your objectives, your goals. And then they're going to think about that with a big picture, holistic view. So be very open, talk about the outcomes you want, and then let a really experienced technical team consider how best to deliver that, and then consider their options carefully and choose the right one for you, knowing that a great deal of experience and consideration has gone into developing the plans. If you're going to partner with an agency, they are the key considerations. You want someone who's experienced, someone who's technical, and someone who is not siloed or blinkered, but takes the holistic big picture view and that can understand not just the technical side, but the commercial side. And I think that's what Inspira offers.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, Ian. That's great advice. We've absolutely motored through the questions. Ian, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being on, and
it's a real pleasure. Yeah, thanks.